With sobbing her eyes out, the Italian lady said, "I can't go on." This is a bloke beating up a woman.
Like pretty much any other sport on the planet, boxing is not free of scandals.
ولدت أنثى وعشت أنثى ودرست أنثى ومارست الرياضة كأنثى. هذا الشيء لا شك فيه.
Welcome back to SMB Boxing. And today, we are going to take a detailed look at 5 of the biggest recent scandals that rocked the sport as hard as a devastating knockout of the year contender.
The question is, would he have won without your help this evening?
I don't help the fighters. I enforce the rules.
These 5 recent scandals, in our opinion, left behind big stains on the boxing world and caused a lot of debate amongst fans, but also served as a reminder as to why the sport is often dubbed as the theater of the unexpected, and why both inside and outside of the ring, it is always captivating to follow. Number 5. Conor Benn gets egg on his face. In 2022, Conor Benn's emergence as one of the biggest stars of British boxing was abruptly derailed.
It's been a phenomenal rise. Oh, good one, 2 and he's down!
Left-right combination, and it is all over in an instant. And Conor Benn has produced the performance of his career.
After a string of impressive KOs against fringe welterweight contenders, Benn was set to step up nearly 2 weight divisions to fight Chris Eubank Jr. at a catch weight of 157 pounds on October 8, 2022.
It's mad to think you can walk through me, you know.
You've got to be confident, eh?
Yeah, delusional, yeah.
The bout pretty much sold itself as the fighters' fathers had a heated rivalry and 2 fierce battles in the 1990s. However, 2 days away from taking place, the highly anticipated pay-per-view showdown was postponed after it was revealed that Benn had failed a voluntary drug test by testing positive for clomiphene, which is a fertility drug that can be used to boost testosterone levels in men.
It's been a very difficult day, 24 hours, 48 hours. We were looking forward to an event that has really captured the imagination of the British public, but obviously we wanted to come here today and formally announce that Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn has been officially postponed.
Pretty much straight away after his failed drug test was made public, Benn protested his innocence and proclaimed to be a clean athlete. But the status of the potential fight with Eubank Jr. would quickly change from postponed to completely cancelled.
I'm a clean athlete and we'll get to the bottom of this. I just want to thank everyone for their continued support.
A few weeks removed from the scrapped Eubank fight, Benn, through statements and press releases, revealed that he had actually failed 2 voluntary drug tests in July and September of 2022 and suggested that contamination could be to blame. Around the same time, the WBC also suspended Benn from their world rankings, and Benn willingly gave up his British boxing license because he refuted several misconduct allegations from the British Boxing Board of Control.
He strongly refutes the allegation of misconduct, which for the avoidance of doubt is not in relation to the VADA issue.
In March 2023, Benn sat down with Piers Morgan for his first TV interview since the news of his 2 failed drug tests broke.
Why are you doing this interview?
Because I feel like a lot of people have speculated and had time to say what they want to say, and I've never been able to speak on it.
During the interview, Benn notably reaffirmed that he had an ongoing dispute with the British Boxing Board of Control and had not yet handed them a 270-page dossier of evidence which had previously been used by his legal team to get him reinstated into the WBC's world rankings.
You've got 270 pages of apparent evidence. Surely you should just give them your evidence, let them respond.
That's down to my legal team.
You have a welter of information, but I cannot for the life of me understand why you wouldn't then give it to the governing body. You know, what would stop you? I don't understand what stops you.
My pride, the way they've dealt with this.
Pride won't get you through this. That to me makes no sense.
I can get a license elsewhere.
Put it all on the internet.
I want to. Trust me.
What's stopping you?
The ongoing legal cases.
At one point, Morgan asked Benn to elaborate on his past suggestion of contamination, as multiple media outlets had reported that a highly elevated consumption of eggs could have been the reason for both of his failed drug tests.
Yeah.
But when they said it may have been a highly elevated consumption of eggs, could have created this positive testing, you don't even accept that.
I don't accept that, no. The WBC, while I was me and my team were on the phone to them on a Zoom call, they had come out and said that one of their scientists are currently dealing with 2 cyclists who have tested positive for clomiphene traces, and they can prove it's in the embryos in the eggs. I'm not willing to accept it because the 270-page report that I sent over to them, my team sent over to them, had nothing to do with eggs. It had everything to do with my testing negative 3 times.
Shortly after his sit-down with Morgan, Ben was provisionally suspended from boxing by the UK anti-doping agency, who were responsible for carrying out his voluntary test. However, following a hearing in July 2023, the Independent National Anti-Doping Panel lifted Ben's provisional suspension, making him free to fight again.
You say you're clear to fight. What can you tell us exactly what has unfolded over the last 24-hour period?
Just that I've been cleared to fight. Just that I'm allowed to fight now in the country where it matters for my supporters.
Although it initially looked like Ben was going to resume his career in Britain, his legal issues didn't just disappear overnight, and subsequently led to him obtaining a Texas boxing license and using it for 2 low-key return fights against Rodolfo Orozco in Florida in September 2023, and then Peter Dobson in Las Vegas in February 2024, with Ben beating both comeback opponents by comfortable points decisions.
This is just more for me getting back to where I was mentally, and it's good being out here, do you know what I mean? But the dream is fight back home. That's the plan. Once all this is cleared up, I feel brand new, still lingering. Do you know what I mean? It's still in the back of my head. I just want to get back to just being able to fully focus on destroying people.
Despite his positive outlook after beating Dobson, Ben's resurgence proved to be short-lived, as in May 2024, the British Boxing Board of Control and the UK Anti-Doping Agency won an appeal to officially overturn the Independent National Anti-Doping Panel's ruling from July 2023, which then meant that for the second time in his career, Ben was not allowed to fight anywhere.
Conor Benn needs to sit down with the British Boxing Board of Control, sit down with UKAD, put his cards on the table, and take whatever punishment is coming his way.
After his second suspension, it's fair to say that Ben and his team went pretty quiet for a few months. However, in October 2024, Ben resurfaced and grabbed a few headlines when he confronted his old foe, Eubank Jr., in Saudi Arabia.
You think you can fight me like that? You think you can fight me like that? Easy, bro. Look at the state of your face.
On November 6, 2024, Ben released a statement on his social media accounts claiming that he had been officially cleared of any wrongdoing by the Independent National Anti-Doping Panel.
And this is going to be an incredible comeback, an incredible journey. It's a massive shot in the arm, of course, for Conor Benn, for Matchroom Boxing, for DAZN, but also for British boxing.
Although it appears that Ben is allowed to fight anywhere again, his problems may not actually be over. On the same day Ben claimed that he was in the clear, the UK Anti-Doping Panel released a statement on their official website and said that they will carefully review the Independent National Anti-Doping Panel's decision before deciding whether to pursue their rights to a further appeal. A few days later, the British Boxing Board of Control also said in a short statement on their official website that they are considering their position on the matter.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is the British Boxing Board of Control and UKAD have still got to have their say. They've got 21 days to have their say. Yeah.
As of the date of this video, that is the latest news from this 2-year-long saga. But in our opinion, we feel that Ben will now not be stopped from resuming his career. And we also expect the long-awaited clash with Eubank Jr. to happen at some point in 2025.
I want you next. We're here, let's do it.
Connor? I'm so scared. Ooh.
Number 4. Referee turns a blind eye to low blows. The 2011 IBF and Showtime Bantamweight Tournament final fight between champion Joseph Agbeko and challenger Abner Mares was completely overshadowed by a terrible performance by the referee Russell Mora.
We have Russell Mora.
Mora's ridiculously bad night at the office began in the first round when he gave Mares no real warnings for several low blows and then awarded him a dubious knockdown after he hit Agbeko while he was slipping down to the canvas.
Let Agbeko think about things, and there's a low blow again. One in round 1.
A lot of success with his punches.
And that will be called a knockdown.
Clearly he was slipping with the right foot when he was hit with the hook.
He was slipping, but the punch landed.
Unfortunately, the opening round was just a taste of what was to come from Mora, as he repeatedly failed to properly admonish Mahrez for his flagrant low blows, and if anything, seemed more intent to warn Agbeko for slight infractions.
Management issues. He said that it wouldn't be a problem for him.
To emphasize just how bad Mora's officiating actually was, our foul counter in the top right corner, and already on 7 at this stage, will continue to show you exactly how many times Mahrez got away with hitting below the belt.
Man, Abner Mahrez has landed at least 5 low blows. There's another one. Russell Moore is going to have to take a point away pretty soon. Oh, another low blow.
That's another low blow in the back. And he keeps warning Joseph Agbeko for pulling his head down.
After he's behind you. Oh, beautiful right hand by Agbeko. Wow. And that backs up Mahrez. Mahrez is hurt. Finally the right.
That was a devastating shot, especially when you could possibly be down 3 rounds.
Yeah, Agbeko did not press the action. Another low blow by Mahrez. Double left hooks landing for both fighters.
All night. I don't think he's sharp tonight. He's going to have to. That low blow is almost to the knee.
That's the 5th warning. You got to take a point away at some point. I'm loath to criticize referees. I hate to do it, but in this instance, you just have to take a point away. Right after the cut.
Get him up. Get him up. Don't put his head down.
Well, that's low blow number 28 in this fight for Abner Mahrez. Lots of excitement, though. And he's the one that suffered the injury. Oh, now Russell Moore's not even bothering to look anymore. A lot of the hooks to the head and some straight right hands. And there again, he looks to go low and gets a warning from Russell Moore. Well, we're in round 8. Why not? Made that it could be debilitating to Agbeko, and because it would change the scoring. And here we go again.
And these are the championship rounds.
Oh my goodness! If he doesn't take a point away at this point.
You good? Don't tell me again. Don't tell me again. Let's go.
I gotta be honest.
That's unbelievable.
You know, really, I'm not geared to. I'm not built this way to do this to referees. This is outrageous. It's an outrage.
It is, because this seems like this guy has refused to warn and
take a point away. He keeps telling them, don't do it anymore. We're in round 10, man.
In the 11th round, Mora somehow outdid all of his previous bad work when Mahrez blatantly dropped Agbeko with a low blow directly on the cup, and to the shock of the Showtime commentators and the spectators in attendance, Mora ruled it to be a legitimate knockdown.
Shots as well, but a lot of them below the border. Oh, again. Oh my goodness, down.
That's
my goodness. Well, we got to look at it again, but it sure looked low from where we were sitting.
That was a low blow, and this referee has failed in this fight, totally.
Agbeko has to be ready. Mahrez coming right at him.
At the end of the 11th frame, Agbeko's corner furiously protested the knockdown and demanded Mora to watch a replay of it on the big screens above the ring.
Now there is the fire from the corner of Agbeko. Well, we're going to look at it. Russell Moore had a good look at this. He's in perfect position.
Low blow.
That's so low. He's in perfect position.
Perfect position.
You can't miss that. He's not only, oh my goodness, how could you not see that? He hit him right in the cup. He's right there. This is the most disgraceful performance by a referee I have seen in the last 15 years.
This referee has stolen a good fight from us because he's not doing the job that he's paid to do.
That's the best point of the night, Antonio.
After going the 12-round distance, Agbeko had to be held back by his corner from confronting Mora, and he would then lose his title to Mahrez by a majority decision, with the wrongly ruled knockdowns in the 1st and 11th round being the critical factors on 2 of the judges' scorecards. After putting in one of the worst referee displays of all time, Mora stayed true to form and did himself absolutely no favors in a post-fight interview with Jim Gray.
Russell Mora, you just raised the arm of Abner Mares. The question is, would he have won without your help this evening?
I don't help the fighters. I enforce the rules. First and foremost, I have to enforce the rules. Those punches were on the belt line. It's a fair punch. I have to call it fair. It would be unfair to give the other guy advantage just because he says it's low. I saw the punch. It's on the belt line. I got to call that a fair punch.
Well, Russell, let's give you a chance to look at it again because I would dispute it. Tell us right now if you feel this is below the belt. Clearly way below. Your thought.
It has a different viewpoint from looking at it here in slow motion. From when I saw it live, I saw that it was a fair punch on the belt line. That was my call. The punch that I saw live was a fair punch, parried off his glove. That's a fair punch.
With all due respect, you have a very difficult job, and I have a high respect for referees, and so does Al Bernstein. This quite possibly, he said, has been one of the worst officiated fights he's seen in years. How would you rate your performance?
I think it's a shame for anybody to say that.
But isn't it also a shame for the fans to see 9, 10, 12, 15 low blows and the guy's getting a warning? And you're warning Agbeko throughout the night, and you barely said anything to Mares.
If it was a low blow, you would be 100% correct. But those are not low blows. They're on the belt line.
Well, you're way off. You're way off, Russell.
Okay, thank you very much.
Number 3, Iman Khalif and the ongoing gender row. Several months after being hurled into the center of an unsavory gender row at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, there is still a lot of uncertainty surrounding Algerian boxer Iman Khalif.
ولدت أنثى وعشت أنثى ودرست أنثى ومارست الرياضة كأنثى. هذا الشيء لا شك فيه.
Khalif and Taiwan's Lin Yuting were both disqualified from the Women's World Championships in 2023 due to gender eligibility tests by the International Boxing Association, revealing that they had increased testosterone levels and XY chromosomes, which normally indicates that a person is biologically male. However, because the International Olympic Committee had already decertified the International Boxing Association and declared that their gender tests were flawed and illegitimate, Khalif and Yuting were allowed to compete at the Paris Olympics.
So for us, it's very important that we give them the support, particularly at the moment. I think if anyone would put themselves in the position of those two athletes who are being ridiculed and attacked, even death threats in some cases, simply because of a test which came from a discredited federation. This is not acceptable, and that's, I think, why we get angry. Of course we want fair bouts, but we also want people to have the right to compete fairly and without harassment.
As expected, there had been some mild controversy before Khalif and Yuting had even fought a single bout in Paris. However, Khalif became the focal point of a heated worldwide gender debate after needing just one solid right hand in 46 seconds to force Italian opponent Angela Carini to walk over to her corner and abandon their round of 16 clash.
Solid straight right hand from Khalif there. About being pulled off by the referee. Carini looking angry in the corner there with her corner.
After losing, Carini definitely added more fuel to the fire when she appeared to refuse to shake Khalif's hand, broke down in tears, and then later expressed in several post-fight interviews that she had never been hit with such a powerful punch and that she stopped fighting to preserve her life.
Ma dovevo salvaguardare anche la mia vita in quel momento e mi sono sentita di fare così.
The next day, Carini did, however, issue an apology to Khalif and said that she hoped that the Algerian would go on to win the Olympics.
Ciao Iman, mi auguro che arriverai in finale e che vincerai le Olimpiadi.
It's fair to say that after Carini abruptly exited the Paris Games, there was a lot of misinformation, fake news, and ill-informed opinions about Khalif flying around, especially on social media.
With sobbing her eyes out, the Italian lady said, "I can't go on. This is a bloke beating up a woman."
However, eventually Khalif and Taiwan's Yuting were both widely assumed to have a rare condition called DSD.
There is so much gray area in this. And so to simplify the question of this Algerian boxer and say, well, she has a Y chromosome, so therefore she absolutely is male, It is not that simple. It is very, very complicated trying to determine the difference there when you get these DSD individuals.
We don't claim to be biological experts like Dr. Rich, who is currently on your screen. But essentially, DSD covers a group of conditions involving genes, hormones, and reproductive organs developing differently than expected, and most importantly in this case, DSD can cause females to have XY chromosomes with testosterone levels in the male range, and that can lead to extra strength and muscle, which is something that was also revealed in the International Boxing Association's discredited gender eligibility test in 2023.
This argument can quickly become tricky. Some people say that it's discriminatory and unfair, that people born with DSD can't help it and shouldn't be excluded from sport. Others argue that the risk to the female athletes they're competing against is too great and could lead to serious injury. This difference in opinion can clearly be seen in Khalif's case.
Other sports, such as world athletics, have certain rules in place for athletes with DSD, including reducing testosterone levels. But as boxing does not, Khalif still remained under intense scrutiny all the way up to winning a gold medal at the Paris Games. Taiwan's Yu Ting, with far less unwanted attention, then followed in the footsteps of Khalif and also took home the top prize in the women's featherweight division.
It's one thing to be the center of world attention, but another to retain one's focus to make sure that at the end of it all, people are talking about a great success story for the individual athlete.
We originally intended to end number 3 here, but as we entered the final stages of finishing the whole video, another twist in the tale popped up. In early November, a leaked medical report obtained by a French journalist allegedly revealed that Khalif is biologically male and actually has a condition known as 5-alpha reductase deficiency. However, as of the date of this video, it remains unclear whether the medical report is legitimate, and it should be noted that Khalif has since taken legal action against media outlets who detailed the alleged findings.
Iman Khalif, the Algerian boxer who sensationally won gold at the Paris Olympics, is today taking legal action against a French media outlet that has published a report alleging that she has a male chromosome, that she's biologically male.
Number 2. The Mystery Man in the Hat. The WBA and IBF light welterweight title fight between Amir Khan and Lamont Peterson in Washington in 2011 had some contentious moments in the ring, but a huge scandal was sparked in the aftermath when the defeated former champion Khan claimed that a mystery man wearing a black hat had interfered with the judges' scorecards throughout the contest.
I saw so much going on, so much commotion going on outside the boxing ring, and, there was a guy with a black hat.
Beginning with the main talking points from the actual fight, which were largely to do with several calls by the referee, Joe Cooper. In the first round, Khan was denied a knockdown by Cooper due to a punch landing on Peterson while he was slipping down to the canvas.
The referee has ruled it a slip. Was it? The referee ruled it a slip.
However, in the final 30 seconds of the same stanza, Khan floored Peterson and Cooper rightfully administered a standing 8 count to the hometown fighter.
Inner energy source.
Let's see if this one's going to be ruled a knockdown. Same place, same left hook. This time it is a knockdown.
7.
From the third round, Khan occasionally pushed Peterson off him when he tried to work on the inside, prompting several verbal warnings from Cooper.
He's having a big round.
Peterson was also guilty at times of using his head as he came forward or up from a ducking position, but the Washington native barely received a ticking off from Cooper.
Stop pushing. Stop pushing.
Body shot from Peterson. Khan moves away.
Yeah, I think it is a test in a way for Peterson, though, Larry. You heard Barry Hunter in the corner say,
After clearly receiving a final warning from Cooper for pushing in the 6th round, Cooper was true to his word and docked a point from Khan when he blatantly pushed Peterson at the end of the 7th frame.
Here's where a hometown advantage comes in. Ref's taking a point away for pushing. He's warned Khan several times.
Let's go.
Freddie Roach says, "Are you crazy?" I don't know that I've ever seen a referee so focused on pushing, which is something normally you get away with.
But it's technically illegal. And
Did
obviously
he warn him?
Yes, he did several times.
After having a point taken off, Khan largely stopped pushing, and Peterson did still sometimes use his head as a weapon, but it was pretty much tit for tat.
Trying to fight fire with fire.
Maybe about Peterson's head, I couldn't tell.
And I don't think Joe Cooper's listening to any of Khan's complaints. Doesn't seem terribly interested. And I agree with you, Max. The issue about which Khan is trying to talk to referee Joe Cooper is Lamont Peterson's head. The upward motion of the head inside.
In the 12th and final round, Cooper's most controversial call came when he deducted another point from Khan for pushing, despite not giving him any previous hard warnings.
Well, I'd rather see reckless.
Let's see if this is going to be another penalty or a discussion. Another penalty point against Khan.
Stop pushing. Stop pushing.
2 points have been taken away from Amir Khan for pushing, a penalty we don't think we've seen anywhere in a long time.
Look, he has been pushing, but if this fight was taking place in Great Britain and the ref was calling something like that on an American fighter, what would we all think?
The points off from Khan for pushing in the 7th and 12th round would turn out to be the deciding factors on 2 of the judges' scorecards, as Peterson was awarded a narrow split decision victory and became the new WBA and IBF light welterweight champion.
And new light welterweight champion of the world, Lamont Peterson.
Khan complained about Peterson using his head and claimed that he had been fighting against both him and referee Cooper in his post-fight interview. But more shocking allegations were to follow from Khan and his team about the involvement of a mystery man in a black hat who they claimed was meddling with the ringside officials and judges' scorecards throughout the 12-round battle.
With some incredible claims from Amir Khan, who's cast fresh doubt over his defeat to Lamont Peterson last month. He's alleged that a mystery man may have interfered with the judges' scorecards during the fight.
The mystery man in the black hat was later revealed to be IBF associate Mustafa Amin, who was given tickets to be at the fight, but it's never been implied anywhere that he was allowed to be talking to officials or handling the bout scorecards. In fact, official boxing rules state that nobody is allowed to speak to the judges or commissioners during a contest.
There should be no one sat with the commission talking about scorecards or handling the scorecard. It does look a little bit dodgy.
Now, let's go back and take an in-depth analysis at Amin's movements on fight night and then look at what he had to say about his central role in the controversy.
Let's shake hands. Let's throw some thunder.
Near the very start of the contest, Amin can be spotted standing up and giving his front row seat to gray-haired WBA supervisor Michael Welsh, whose job on the night was to check and add up each of the judges' scorecards at the end of each round. By the start of round 2, Amin had moved back from the second row into the first row and is now directly next to Welsh. Initially in his new position, Amin appears to be just enjoying the action in the ring like a spectator. However, from the start of the 6th round to the fight's end, he is almost always not even watching the proceedings and is leaning over Welsh's shoulder, as well as appearing on several occasions to be in conversation with him. Although the camera angle is just out of view, 45 seconds into the 6th round, Amin appears to hand a scorecard, which would have been a different color for each judge, along to an official sat to Welsh's right. And then in the most damning piece of evidence to back up Khan and his team's claims, Amin is seen clearly holding and putting down a yellow scorecard in the 11th round.
Khan's now fighting at the distance, more behind the jab. There goes 3 punches in a row.
Offensive output. Harold Letterman gave the 10th to Khan, giving him a 2-point margin with 2 rounds to go on the Letterman unofficial card.
We heard Barry Hunter tell Peterson in the corner, how bad do you want it? I want to see 2 and 3 jabs on the way in, and when you get in, tear them out the frame.
There was notably a long delay before Peterson was announced as the winner, and following the decision, there are several pictures that appear to show Amin celebrating with Peterson and his team. Additionally, when the official judges' scorecards were later made public, it was confirmed that there was a white scorecard which had been altered in the 7th round and also a yellow scorecard.
I promised you that I would talk to you fully after the hearing, and I was committed to doing so. However, our hearing was canceled.
On January 18, 2012, Khan and his team were set to officially appeal the Peterson defeat and come face-to-face with Amin at a hearing with the IBF. However, because Khan and his team felt that the absences of many of the fight's officials, including WBA supervisor Welsh, would make the hearing unfair, they withdrew their appeal at the 11th hour. After the hearing was canceled, Amin gave the BBC an exclusive interview and denied any wrongdoing on fight night, but admitted that he had helped Welsh correct a scorecard.
This is the honest truth. Mr. Welsh was not feeling well, and he began to profusely thank me very much. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you, thank you. And we both decided, well, I'll help you. I'll look at the scores. I will look at and I'll double check for you. So I begin to interact after every round to make sure. And he subsequently, to be quite honest with you, even after the third or fourth round, he just began to make many more mistakes.
Despite the canceled hearing with the IBF appearing to bring an end to matters, it's fair to say that the Khan-Peterson saga still rumbled on for quite a while. After an appeal, the WBA granted Khan a rematch, but the return meeting was later canceled after Peterson failed a drug test by testing positive for synthetic testosterone. The Washington native then also admitted to having testosterone pellets inserted into his hip before beating Khan, and as a result, the WBA stripped him of his world title and reinstated Khan as champion before his fight against Danny Garcia in July of 2012. However, the IBF did not follow suit and surprisingly allowed Peterson to keep their version of the light welterweight crown.
But yet the word testosterone is a known, you've been in boxing circles long enough to know that testosterone is a drug that's banned, that's not allowed, or that in certain circumstances is not allowed to be used if you're over certain ratios and levels.
Did not know any of this.
You did not know any of this?
No.
Despite a lot of talk over the years, Khan and Peterson would never meet again and truly settle the score at a rematch.
It was a great fight. I'm not taking nothing away from Lamont Peterson. It was a brilliant fight. He's a great fighter, and we want to do it again for the fans and everyone else. And this time, we want it fair. And we don't want no mystery men there ringside messing around with whatever they were messing around with.
Number 1. Home cooking at its worst. In the mid to late 2000s and early 2010s, there were two phrases often heard when a boxer was traveling to Germany to fight a hometown fighter. If the fight goes the distance, you won't get the decision, and you need to score a knockout to get a draw in Germany.
A draw in Germany, I think it says you've won the fight.
One of the main catalysts behind the expressions, and also one of the most shameful home cooking jobs by a referee, came in December 2003, when former world champion Robin Reed went to Sven Odka's backyard of Germany to try to take his IBF and WBA super middleweight titles. On the night, Reed boxed a brilliant fight, particularly in the first 6 rounds when he countered Otka on the back foot, but the Belgian referee, Roger Tillerman, took it upon himself to literally protect the undefeated champion, and started by warning Reed several times for landing legal body punches in the first round.
That's 3 or 4 years with a huge step up. That's the old punch to the kidneys. Otka had a little look at the referee, and Roger Tillerman says, don't do that to Robin Reed.
Reed's just doing a nice exhibition at the moment of boxing. He's boxing at distance. The referee isn't going to do Robin Reed any favours whatsoever.
Goes Sven Otka in with that jab and out again. Moves out of... That's the second time. That's indeed perhaps the third time.
That is, I did say earlier that the referee's not going to do Reed any favours whatsoever.
As the fight moved through the rounds, Tillerman's bias towards Otka got worse and worse as he continued to warn Reed for landing legit blows to the head and body, and repeatedly admonished the British challenger for headbutts, even though it was mostly Otka who was lunging in with his head, and also rather slyly masking over his fouls and clinches with complaints to the incompetent third man in the ring.
Now, Otka has to force the fight, if he wants to draw the round back, obviously. Complaining to the referee about taking a right hand flush on the jaw. Nothing wrong with that shot at all.
Yeah, Otka is a past master at doing that. He would be on a points win by Otka at 36 years of age. There's a feeling too that this might be his last fight. He's indicated that he mightn't be too far away from hanging up the gloves. Rather wild uppercut. Reed ducking down, little accidental clash of heads, and again, this referee is giving Reed nothing.
The referee is just not going to give Robin Reed the slightest thing whatsoever. Reed is so keyed up. There's nothing wrong with that shot. There's nothing wrong with that right hand whatsoever.
That was a good, solid, straightforward left by Robin Reed. Now that was just a little pat on top of the head. There was nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
He knows he can take several chances in this fight and not get paid.
It goes at 12 though.
Reid has got to be so far ahead of the points as to make it, well, simply indisputable. I just get the sense that Oscar now wants to step up the pace. That is just ridiculous. This referee is giving Robin Reid absolutely nothing. Any little accidental clash seems to be Reid's fault.
More purposeful in this round.
Better by Reid, nothing wrong with that. And it is pretty high. He's obviously publishing his intent. Good stuff by Reid. Lovely hook, and Oscar grins over that battered face of his, and he knows that he got caught.
Good head, good head.
Now Ox talking to the referee saying about heads, but that wasn't deliberate. In thin air if need be, just to show the judges that he's being busy.
Stop. Break. Stop it. Okay. Stop.
I don't know what Robin Reid has to do to please this referee.
Pushing,
Every time there's any contact at all, and this is really disheartening, Robin Reid. And it's going to be a measure of just as good as concentration is. At that time it was Oscar who went in with a head, and there wasn't a word from the referee. This is the worst piece of officiating, Duke, I've seen for a long time.
You and me both, Jim, you've called it absolutely right. The referee now's going to rule Reid again.
Oh, well, my goodness, he said to Oscar, dear Sven, be a pet and don't use that head of yours.
I've been inclined to give the round to Reid yet again. Well, I've got 4 rounds down now going into this next round.
Oh my goodness, he said, you know, even though he tells Otka off, he then has to tell Reid off just to make it right. There's Otka going in with a head again.
Step back.
Otka realises that he's behind and he's trying to force the fight. Referee, come up it. That's disgraceful. What the referee's actually done there was a disgrace. There was nothing wrong with that right hand whatsoever, and he's warned Reid for it for slapping.
Well, Reid has got to keep his composure. He's got to try to forget about this, well, incompetent official in the middle. I know there are 1 or 2 little things, but it is professional boxing. There are 2 world titles on the line. And every time Reid does something, well, he's been made to feel as if he's a criminal. Almost shipped a right there. Good job by Otka. Reid into the ribs yet again. Watch this. Is he going to take foot? No, he's not. I'm really afraid for Robin Reid to make any contact, Duke, because this referee's looking to score him out of it.
After Reid's manager, Jess Harding, somehow found out that Reid was down by at least 3 points on all of the judges' scorecards after 5 completed rounds, which is something that any real boxing fan would find very hard to fathom. This was Reid's reaction when his trainer, Brian Hughes, passed on the information in the corner.
Still 7 rounds remaining.
3 rounds behind. Now come on, you want to win this? No, I'm serious. How come? You were 3 rounds behind, so wait a minute.
Did I hear right? Did Brian Hughes tell Robin Reid he was 3 rounds behind?
Maybe it's a psychological ploy. It has to be. It has to be a psychological ploy because I can't believe for 1 minute that Robin Reid has lost a single round.
You're 3 rounds behind now. You're more by a knockout, I'm telling you.
Pretty much already knowing that he would need to knock out Otka to take his titles, Reid came out more aggressively in the 6th round, but was disgracefully denied a legitimate knockdown by Tillerman, and then to add insult to injury, the Belgium official docked a point from him for what we can only describe as repeated phantom headbutts.
In front of his home crowd. Otka in with a head this time.
No holding,
Oh, that's a ridiculous comment by that referee. It was actually Otka's head that went into that infringement.
That's his WBC title to Tulane Malinga. Lost in a real belter to Joe Kozagi. That wasn't bad at all by Robin Reid.
It's not called out knockdown, I can't believe it. That is a disgrace.
He knows he's got caught. What does Robin Reid have to do? They've got to turn the lights out and give him a submachine gun. The Reid corner absolutely incandescent.
That is a disgrace. The referee should have called that a knockdown. That should be a 10-8 round now to Robin Reid.
And again the referee barking something at Reid as if Reid is doing anything wrong. This is Reid's best round by far. And the referee's thinking of deducting a point from him. This is scandalous.
As a professional boxer, I've never seen a referee like this, and now the referee will take a point because Ox made a big point about it. Look at this, that's disgraceful.
Well, Robin Reid really is going to have to knock this fellow out to get a win, and a win that so far he thoroughly deserves.
Well, this is the worst bit of officiating I've seen from a referee in all the years I've been boxing, which is 17 years complete.
And Otka's, look at that, Otka's diving in, and it's Otka who's making the contact. It's like a professional footballer who's going for the professional foul, or trying to tell the referee that he's been tripped when he hasn't. Gentleman that he is, Robin Reid just grimaces and looks down at us.
After the midway point, Reid was initially deflated and clearly worried about Tillerman taking more points from him for doing little to nothing wrong. However, he refocused in the final 3 rounds of the fight, and taking away any prior knowledge of the judges' scorecards for a moment, he appeared to do enough down the stretch to claim a comfortable points decision victory.
Round the corner right by Reid, just blocked, good stiff shot, and there's Otka going in with a head. Oh, what's he going to do about this? Nothing at all.
Both of you, right? Both.
He says both of you watch the heads, and Reid again has done nothing wrong. Roger Tillerman. And it's Otka coming forward.
But the referee warns Robin Reid for an infringement that was caused by Otka.
Good work by Reid, he's keeping his composure. Otka complaining that Reid is pushing him down.
But you can just see the frustration in Robin Reid every time. He's scared to get into a clinch or an infringement or anything of that nature because of this referee.
I think he's more afraid of the referee than he is of Sven Otka.
Referee, he is not holding.
Otka's got so many split decisions and majority decisions. That was a good right hand by Reid, and immediately Otka responds. And he said rather flat on his feet. Good work by Reid, good footwork. 2 sweet little left hands, and again, right hand from Robin Reid. Good left hand by Reid, moved beautifully out of the way.
That would be a good solution, I feel, to Robin Reid's getting through with some cleaner shots now.
Jess Harding is saying, come on Robin, up the work rate. Better by Reid, swept that left away. And again by Reid, head by Otka. Referee splits him up for the last time. Reid throws the arms in the air. Otka throws the arms in the air.
After the final bell, Otka would win by scores of 115 to 113 on 2 of the judges' scorecards, and a completely nonsensical 117 to 112 score by the 3rd judge.
117, 112.
Mancini aus Italien 115 zu 113 und weiterhin Doppelwert
115, 113. Well, a 5-card margin was beyond all belief and really beyond all honesty. 2 points perhaps you could accept.
The 6th round of the fight was ultimately the difference maker. Had referee Tillerman rightfully awarded Reid a knockdown and not taken a point away from him for basically doing nothing wrong, then Reid would have been crowned the new unified IBF and WBA super middleweight champion. Although watching this back, we had Reid winning on points by a pretty decent margin. The judges' scorecards were actually not the worst we have ever seen. However, referee Tillerman's performance, especially in the first 6 rounds of the fight, was diabolical and had some of the most biased piece of officiating we had ever seen in the ring.
Referee, come up there, that's disgraceful. What the referee's actually done there was a disgrace. There was nothing wrong with that right hand whatsoever, and he's warned Reid for it for slapping.
Tillerman's farcical overseeing of the first half of the bout also had a knock-on effect on Reid, as he let many of the middle to late rounds slip away because he was visibly disheartened and more concerned about further point deductions than landing shots.
That is so disheartening for Robin Reid. Every time he gets anywhere near closest to Otka, the referee pulls him up and says, cut it out, but he's not doing anything wrong.
No post-fight interviews were available at the time, but Reid was later quoted in the press saying, "You don't expect any favors fighting in Germany, but at least Dick Turpin wore a mask when he robbed people."
Where have we stopped?
It's Dick Turpin, ma'am.
Blimey.
In an attempt to get an immediate rematch with Otka, Reid and his manager Jess Harding lodged appeals to the IBF and WBA in January 2004, almost solely on the grounds of the officiating by Tillerman. However, around a month later, both organizations dismissed the appeals, and per reports, Harding was left several £1,000s out of pocket.
And I'm thrilled that guest number 200 is former WBC super middleweight champion Robin Reid.
In 2022, Reid talked about his defeat to Otka on Tris Dixon's Boxing Life Stories podcast, and to back up some of our previous statements, we will finish this video by matching up some of Reid's interview with the actual fight footage.
The end of the 5th, Jess Harding's come running up, yeah? Face said it all. Do you know what I mean? Worried, panic. He's got come up to the corner and he's gone, "Rob," he said, "I've just seen the scorecards, mate." He said, "They're having you over." He said, "You're 4 rounds behind already. This round 5." He said, "They've only give you 1 out of them 5. And you actually see me, sorry for swearing, and I went, "You joking? You having a laugh?" Or something like, "You joking?" Like pure shock on my face. And Brian goes, he's right there, and then he's like, "Rob, go on track, you're gonna have to knock him out, mate." So I did, didn't I? Round 6. I went out, boom, caught him with the right hand. He went over. And I've seen him go down. I thought, "You beauty, there is a God." Do you know what I mean? You beauty, yeah. And then the refs helped him up. No knockdown. It was a slip, and I remember thinking, "Are you having a laugh? He slipped on the end of my right hand. What's happened?" Do you know what I mean? And anyway, box on. So I steamed in. Yeah, as you would do. Stop. You see it? Stop. What? You actually see me? What? The same round. Stop. What did he bore me for? I think was it a headbutt? Or something.
Yes,
I can't remember.
headbutt.
I can't remember what happened. I think it was just a bit of a clash of heads, if anything.
He took a point off for that.
And he took a point off. And I knew then, I thought, and I knew they're having me over, but I just thought, that is just knocked him down. And just to make sure with the judges, you've actually took a point off me just to make sure.
Thanks for watching. What are some of the biggest recent scandals that you would like us to cover in detail in future installments of this series? Drop us your suggestions in the comments.
They're known for being cheats, and they'll always be cheats. Amateur boxing stinks from the core right to the top.